So I showed you earlier how to remove some of the leftover adhesive when you have just the little spots when you do the black. When you have these templates and these pieces cut and you spray the white and you pull everything off, you're going to have a lot more adhesive to deal with than just when you do the black layer. So there's a different technique. Actually, it's just a little change to it. Instead of wetting one folded piece of cloth, you fold two. So instead of, if you remember that first time, I would wet it, which would soak through, and I would wipe, and then I'd flip it over, and then I'd swipe it away using this. The idea here is that you're going to wet two of these. So I can do much faster, wet it, and then wipe it off. And then have a dry one, fold it in half so you know that that's the dry one, and then you can come in and really wipe off anything that's left. So I got my new can of naphtha. Yay. Thumbs up. So I'm going to wet both of these. And then I'm going to start doing the pre-wetting and then wiping off. Red. And while I'm doing this, I wanted to show you on the back. I mentioned how you wanted to save some of the pieces that are already on there. So what I've done is I've cut very, very lightly with a razor this area around this little bizarre triangle, because we're going to dab that with the pink that needs. This piece right here gets covered up with a big triangle that goes right here. I'm not worried about that. And then I leave this area here. There's not much there, but it's just right there, and this is the little sprigs or whatever you want to call it that come off and keep that area solid black with the pink pushing right up against it. All the rest is going to be taken care of. We're going to tape off and mask off. And I leave this area right in here and these long pieces here. So we want that, the pink and all that to fill in every little spot and not have any white showing. And if we do want to have white showing, we're going to control that by how we tape and mask things off. I still have to add the white that's right in here. There's a long narrow triangle that is formed. We're going to get that in there. Okay, I just wanted to show you after I've gotten all the adhesive that was left over, I got it all off. It's very smooth everywhere. Well, I mean, it's not sticky anywhere. And at this point, I've washed it with light soap water, then wiped it off with clean water, and then I dried the whole thing. So we've gotten all oil residue off of this. So at this point, what you can do with your tape is get this area masked off now, and the entire inside of this neck pocket, because the little edge that shows right here is white. There's no red that gets in there. And I cut the tape right here so that if you decide to put one of the square-heeled telly necks on here, which is the traditional Franky neck, you have a gap in there because this is rounded and that's squared off. So do that, and the right amount of misting and all that will just happen naturally. So, but right now this is all taped off. I marked my holes for where I put the my paint stick to hold the guitar while I'm painting. And this area, you can see there's about a 1/4 inch all the way around where the red will mist onto those walls. And it dips lower over on this side because there's some strips that go right here, and you can still see the white where those little 1/4 inch pieces go. And add some more exposed black areas, which happens all over the place. And we're gonna put those in there. We need to have these cut, and I don't know if you can see that in with the shine. But that's the really intricate worn spot that'll go about right there. And cover up parts of this black stripe just right. I thought I felt a sticky part. I did not. Okay, so more silhouette or cricket cut pieces. So be back. We're going to, I already did a couple spots, this whole area, and we're going to keep going and do some more areas. Let's see, now I'm getting onto my razor kick here, and it's fun to do, so I kind of just keep going with it. And then we're going to worry about the little bit of white that comes off along these edges. And it's not much. So, see how that black line got exposed right there? Just a slight bit. We do that with the slightest touch. I'm getting ahead of myself. I really don't need to do that right now. But we are here, and then we have a razor in our hand, and it's hard to avoid. This is a really bizarre spot. I put a tiny little dot there as a start, what I thought was a cigarette burn, but if you look at this image, it's really bizarre. And I have no idea how it got to look like that. Another one of those things I would love to know more about. And when you do get little scrapes from the razor, we're going to hit this with clear as one of the last things we do. And all those scrapes, like this long one here, go away. You really don't even see them. Yeah, front is done. These ledges are really hard, these round over bits. And you have to go really light, or you're going to start doing relicing where you really don't want to do relicing. So that one's done, but you can see just how it's a very light, soft touch. Now luckily we do have some exposed wood here, and by the slightest touch I exposed that wood, but we're going to be doing that, so that's not a big deal. We got a few spots where we want that removed than just that, but that turned out nice. So yeah, well, I just knocked down the whole top, so doesn't take much either. It goes pretty darn quick. And then I'll be doing the back as well, and all the roundovers. And in here is a delicate spot because you can really easily dig too deep. So I try to do it in sections. And there's still some exposed wood we have to work on. Now this piece right here is very thin on Eddie's. So if I just work it, see how it's just kind of a faded white now? Right there? And that's going to look perfect under that triangle, because that's kind of what his looks like. Put in some random scrapes so it doesn't look like you had any specific tool with it. Yeah, everything's smooth. I like it. I mean, that looks good with that grain having the dark in it. It looks far more realistic. This area, we did not do that because this area is so worn out, so gouged out, that it's really not necessary. So, I mean, there's most of the sides done right there. Yeah, everything's smooth. All right, so we got that. So for the most part, we've just done the entire outside edge in about 60 seconds. And then we're going to start working on some of the roundover spots. I have to imagine that there isn't much wear on these insides with these ears, or elbows, or whatever you want to call them. But I do try to knock down just the peaks, because we do have tape that goes over it. Alright, we've done the 4 holes to know where they are for the Gibson input jack that used to hold on to a guitar strap right here. And we're going to add them here as well, but we're going to do that with the actual drill and drill bit. And right now, we can just add a bunch of little dings. As random as you can. bunch of little marks here with a little brush. Now this is universal black, but it comes with a little brush and it's the exact color of what you're doing here. They make a white, Wimbledon white, which is what we used here. They make the universal black. They even make a super red too. So you can come in and add those little marks that you want. For example, down in here, there's a few marks of black that get added. And they could just be very mild. And we'll come back with a razor. And while I'm here, I'll show you just how much these help. So right now we've got this rounded over chisel, scraper, whatever you're going to call, and randomly we can put this in. And cover that whole edge. Don't just go in a standard pattern, but you want to really kind of work it around in different ways. The more creative, the better. This is breaking through that epoxy and adding more scrapes. And you may want to do some low level ones in different directions to give that back edge that look. That you're looking for. But it gets that look of simply it's been bashed around in a ton of different guitar stands or on stage or whatever. Now, the front has far less. It's mostly confined to the back. But every once in a while there's a little area. See how that just adds a little bit? And you can do just that and get that worn look. Okay? So there's a roughed up butt end. I wouldn't do any more. It's already set. This is already set. Maybe you want to thin out some of the marks. There. I wouldn't do any more. These butt ends of the elbows get worn more than anywhere else. That's pretty realistic. I can show you pictures that show that almost exactly. And you want to really hit it. Giggity. So be liberal. Show your marks. Show that this thing has been to hell and back, because it has. There you go. Wouldn't do any more. Let's get the red on here and the pink, and we've sold it. We've sold it fairly well. So I wanted to show you another technique that I trust you will use very randomly and rarely. Take your razor blade. Make sure that point comes straight down. Do a round over effect and pop it. You've just broken through to the bare wood to make things look really real. So I've done that all over, and I'm done. And I'm now going to work on getting the red, get things taped up, and get all this going. See it? See how it looks pretty real? See that? And I did it on the back as well, in a number of spots. You can see the little spots all over. Okay, and we got two here. We got one here, one on that side. This is covered up with red, so we won't even see it, but this top part has parts exposed as well. And very light work is needed to make it look right. So now as we move on and look at some more of the places, here's another one. You can see these right here have some certainly missing. And we've got that at the top and the bottom. And I mean the end of the round over. And we've already got that right there, right here. And we're just going to really lightly shave this down until we get wood to show through. And there we go. That's all we need.